Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises and double honors due to Yahweh by Hashem HaMashiach Malak Yahushai. Secondly, this is Brother Yardan, WFI Detroit, coming back at you with the end of the cold cut. Today in this cold cut, our main lesson or topic will be touching on anger and idle words. And it's important that we go over this because these are things that a lot of our people, they struggle with, especially coming into this truth. A lot of our people, we weren't raised up understanding how to handle our anger and just speaking foolishly. We didn't actually have mechanisms and tools to navigate on how to not become this person that just speaks idly and just always so angry. But now coming into this truth, I mean, there's so many resources to further better understand yourself and to understand how to not be your old man, right? That's a reference going back to the scriptures, right? The old man in the sense of your old self. So with that being said, let's get 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. And it reads, "Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith, and prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates." And I love this verse because the Lord is telling us to examine ourselves. And there's steps to examination. To first examine yourself, it takes a lot of humility because you have to be at that point where you acknowledge and understand that there's something wrong with you. And what's next after that is actually looking at the issues, right? And in this case, if it's anger and speaking idle words, you have to ask yourself, well, why do I do this? And then you go into the precepts and read and how to dismantle and really to obliterate those wicked fruits. Because you have righteous fruits and you have wicked fruits, right? The fruits of the Spirit, it doesn't contain anger and speaking idle words. You know, the tongue holds a lot of power. And of course, that's in the scriptures. We're going to bring it out. We're going to bring out the precepts. You know, I'm going to bring out the accounts. I have a few testimonies. So let's first get Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. And it reads, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof." The reason why it says death and life are in the power of the tongue, because you do have the ability to, so to speak, give life unto another person by speaking comely words, by speaking righteousness. You do have the ability to give life unto somebody through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? And that's done through giving out the precepts, giving out counsel, giving out wisdom. That's how you can give life unto somebody. One way you can give death unto somebody is speaking idle words. And idle words contains toxic words and things that you don't really mean. Hurtful words, harmful, right? And there are certain words that can actually break up a friendship. And it can do a lot more. For an example, in high school or in middle school or elementary school, throughout all the schools, you have bullies. And bullies provoke. And not only that, they actually tell kids to go destroy themselves, to go off themselves. And they actually do. So death and life are in the power of the tongue is very literal. It is a very, very true statement. For an example, another example, a lot of people, you know, they may have dealt with verbal abuse. Well, you ain't never going to be nothing, never will, and you ain't this and you ain't that. That actually destroys somebody. That tears that person down. So again, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. All right, so if you love speaking death, I mean, you're going to eat the fruit. You're going to reap what you sow. If you love speaking life, you're going to reap what you sow. Let's get another one in Proverbs 12 and 18. And it reads this: There is that speaketh like the piercings of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is health. So here we see again the tongue having the capability to give life or to be used as a weapon. Like any other tool in this world, whether it be a hammer or a knife, that hammer can really build up something beautiful, or it can destroy. And a knife can obviously kill somebody, take away a life, but can also do a lot of good. And so, your tongue as well. Salakia. Let's get another one. Let's get James 3 and 8, the classic. Salakia. James chapter 3. Verse 8. And it reads this: But the tongue can no man tame. I'm going to start up a little bit more for context. Let's get verse 5. And it reads: Even so the tongue is a little member, and boasteth great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth. And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and is set on fire of hell. And so we see again the tongue having so much power to obviously and clearly destroy a relationship, destroy friendships. It can destroy yourself. And there's an old saying, something to the effect of, your words will reflect your future, which is true. So if you speak negatively, if you condemn yourself and just constantly condemning yourself and your conscience, and you're gonna fall out this thing. Yeah, I'm not good enough, and I'm sucking. I didn't pray 1,000,000 times today, and I didn't read those 50 chapters. I suck. I mean, brother, you're gonna destroy yourself. That's why it says what it says in Sirach 14 and 2, right? Let me bring that up. I'll use this. Sirach chapter 14. I'll give my Bible. Bear with me. Here it is. Sirach chapter 14, verse 2. Blessed is the man that hath not slipped with his mouth, and is not pricked with the multitude of sins. In other words, you're blessed if you don't always constantly get on yourself like that. There's nothing wrong with correction and examining yourself, right? That's not to contradict 2 Corinthians 13 and 5, but you don't want to do it to the effect of you hurting yourself and harming yourself. And so as you continue to read on, it says, Blessed is he whose conscience hath not condemned him, and who is not fallen from his hope in the Lord. And so again, this all links back up to James, the 3rd chapter. And where do we leave off? The 6th verse, on how the tongue has the ability to destroy yourself. And sometimes we may do that from time to time, right? Oh, I'm not doing this enough. I'm not doing that enough. And if it's not your tongue, it's your mind. Because your mind and your tongue are really connected. This is James chapter 3, verse 7. For every kind of beast, and of birds, and of serpents, and of things in the sea is tamed. Right? That's true. We domesticated tigers. Believe it or not, you can domesticate a damn tiger, a damn bear, an elephant, a dog, a cat. You can domesticate serpents. You can tame these wild beasts. That's what it's saying. And hath been tamed of mankind, right? But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. Right? That's not to say it's impossible, but it's one of those things that's close to impossible. Of course, we can through the Spirit of the Lord, but it's pretty much expressing how it is hard to tame this tongue because we all are still in this flesh. Therefore, we're going to be, falling short from time to time. And so, with that being said, you may say some words you don't really mean. That's why it's very, very difficult to tame. But to tame it, you have to combat it with the fruits of the Spirit. Right? To contain your tongue, you have to utilize the righteous tools. You have to utilize the fruit of the Spirit. So, let me bring this out. Therefore, bless we God, even the Father, and therewith curse we men, which are made after the similitude of God. And that's deep. You blessing the Lord, you thanking the Lord, and you just cursing your brothers. You saying something vile to your brothers. You don't speak to them with respect. You don't speak with them with kindness, with patience, long suffering. You don't speak to them in a charitable voice. You just nasty, brother. You sound ugly. Let's bring out Ephesians. Four and 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. Even as the old saying goes, if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Whether it be towards you or towards yourself, whoever for that matter. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Don't waste your tongue, don't waste your breath. That's what it says in Sirach. It just slipped my mind. That's okay. Lord willing to come back. All right, remember 32 and 8. It says, let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words. Be as one that knoweth, and yet holdeth his tongue. So, if you have a problem with speaking idle words, it's going to take a lot of patience. And the Lord's not going to come down and give you a box, and it's a present with the bow on it, and you open it, and it's a ball of patience, and you grab it, and you squeeze it, now you got patience. This isn't a game. Right? The Lord is going to bless you in action, in person. He's going to bless you by providing you a situation where you can exercise patience. And you know what patience is through reading the Bible, through reading the scriptures, and how your forefathers exercised patience and how they applied it in their situation. So the Lord is going to bless you. The Lord blesses a lot of people through physical situations, because he wants you to get stronger. So he'll place you in a situation to make you stronger. And that situation can be very hot, right? It's a furnace. Remember, we're in a furnace, and the Lord wants nothing but fine gold. Let me bring that out. It's Revelation chapter 3, verse 19. Slakia, verse... Where shall I start? 3 and 18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire. So the Lord wants you to be that gold. But to be that pure gold, you must go through the fire. You must be placed in uncomfortable situations. You have to be in a difficult, very, very difficult, hard situation in certain circumstances for you to actually get stronger. That's what Paul said what he said when he said, through my weakness, I am stronger. And I'll pull that out eventually. but I don't want to go on a tangent. I want to stay on course. Let all things be done decently in order. And again, all of that tied back to Ephesians, the 4th chapter, and the 29th verse. Let no corrupt communications proceed out of thy mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of God, whereby ye are sealed unto the day of redemption. And let me keep reading. It says, let all bitterness, wrath, and anger, and clamor, and evil speakings be put away from you with all malice. So those evil speakings is idle words and anger, pretty much in the same ballpark. Because you don't always have to be angry. Just a side point, you don't always have to be angry to speak idle words, right? But again, the verses clears it up, right? It says, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. So he's literally giving you the formula on how to combat that wicked, nasty, evil spirit of anger and idle words. Salakia. Let's get to the next precept. Let's get Proverbs chapter, where is that? 15 and 4. And it reads this. I'll start at 1, because it all tied together. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. Another way of saying is idle words can stir up anger. Because sometimes the way you respond, the way you respond is terrible. Let's be honest, brother. The way you respond to brothers is awful. Your tone is terrible. I mean, you're cursing every time you talk to brothers. You don't sound gentle. Yeah, you got to be gentle in this thing. You got to deal with it. Now, a lot of brothers may be like, I'm not gentle. That's the fruits of the Spirit, brother. You got to be long-suffering and patient. You don't think Yahushua was gentle? Not to say, you can't, be mighty and valiant. But, hey, even the most valiant men understand that there's a time and place for everything. And that there's always a time to be gentle. Or there are a lot of opportunities for you to become gentle. Chiefly, namely, when you're in the spirit of anger. Specifically, if it's not, justified. Because the Lord did say, be angry and sin not. But if you're just angry all the time for no reason, then you got a demon on you. And anger is just nothing but a fire. Therefore, after that, anger is going to evolve and consume and turn into idle words. It can turn into physical, just something physical. Let me continue reading. I'm going to jump down. Verse 4. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. Ooh, it's a breach in the spirit, right? If you perverse in your tongue, it's just a breach in the spirit. Now you're getting overthrown. Let me get this. No, that's fine. I don't want to go too off track. winding down. Right, so you want to just to recap, you got to have wisdom, patience, and pretty much the fruits of the spirit, which we'll get shortly, to combat that evil spirit of anger and just speaking idly. Like, brother, you don't always have to curse. Remember, the Lord's going to hold you accountable for all the words that you say, which is scary. Let me grab this. Book of Matthew, chapter 14. It's like in Matthew chapter 12, verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So you've been speaking idly. You speaking idle words can prohibit you from entering the kingdom. Because now you're just being a reviler. You're just being raunchy. You're just being raunchy. Being rated R with your tongue all the time. You don't got nothing good to say. So I'm going to pull up that definition of tame. It says, in a state of subjection, physically subdued, restrained in behavior of animals domesticated, reclaimed from wilderness, also of persons. So you have to ask yourself, well, how can I tame my tongue today? What are some exercises that I can perform to not say something so crazy? What are some exercises that I can actually do to kind of, help me not be so angry? Maybe I should meditate on the precepts. Maybe I could kind of, take some deep breaths. There's nothing wrong with taking a deep breath. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It actually physically, helps. It calms you down. Maybe you need to go for a walk. Maybe you need to count the ABCs in Hebrew. Abba, God, that. Maybe you need to do something righteous to not be so angry. Right? That's where examination comes in, and that's where looking for a solution comes into play too. Because everybody's solution is going to be a little bit different on how they tame their tongue. It also says, meek, gentle-natured, complaint. It's like a compliant, intent on homely or domesticated activities. From oblique forms of Old English, tame, domesticated, docile. You want to put your tongue in subjection. You want to make sure that you're not just speaking idle words all the time. Even to your brother. We know brothers are close and all, but you don't want to call your brother and say, what up, N-word, what up, by-word. Not that you should be doing that at all, but this video is just really exhortation to make sure that you're saying everything appropriately to the best of your ability. You don't always have to say folly and foolishness. Not wrong with jokes here and there, but it's a thin line. There's a very, very thin line. So this video wasn't intended to be 2 hours, 3 hours, just a quick cold cut so Israel may understand that you can't move in a spirit of anger and have that idle words in your heart. I'll close out with Galatians. Galatians chapter 5. It's like it. Galatians chapter 5, verse 16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and flesh isn't always sexual. Flesh is anything that can prohibit you from entering the kingdom. Flesh is something that's detrimental to your spirit, that can be a breach in your spirit, such as speaking idle words, such as having anger, greed, right? That's the flesh. That's the old man. So again, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. It's like, yeah. And these things, like, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led by the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest. These are the works and the fruits of the flesh. Which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revilings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. So again, having that wrath, those variances, revilings, those things, emulations, those things can prohibit you from entering the kingdom. Yeah, brother, you do all the arms, you wear your fringes, you grow out your beard. Yeah, sister, you pillar the rest, you moving like Ruth, or being mighty, but you still got that wrath. You still envious. You still got that one blemish that can prohibit you from entering the kingdom. That's why the Lord requires perfection. Verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affections and lust. So if you with Yahweh Shai Mashiach, then that old man is crucified to the cross, right? It's on the cross. It's gone, right? In other words, it's done away with. So Lord willing, Israel has been edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. It has a better understanding on how to tame the tongue, or at least help you examine yourself. Lord willing, this video finds those who have been struggling with anger and trying to examine themselves through the Spirit. I want to bring out two more, actually. I'll bring out Psalms 86. and 15. But thou, O Lord, art a God full of compassion and gracious long-suffering, and plenteous in mercy and truth. I mean, if you're moving after the Spirit of the Lord and you're made in His image and His likeness, you have to be gracious and merciful. Those are attributes that fight and that are contrary to anger and wrath. Let's get another one. I'll close out with this. Sirach 5 and 13. And it reads this: honor and shame is in talk, and the tongue of a man is his fall. So your tongue can really literally be your fall. Like it said in Matthew 12 and 36. Right, by your words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So don't let your words be your fall. But with that, shalom.